Logo design is much more than just creating an eye-catching image. It is the visual identity of a brand, the first impression that a business or project conveys. A good logo must be functional, memorable, and capable of communicating a clear message. In this video, I will guide you step by step through the entire process of creating a logo, from conceptualization to vectorization and export. So if you want to learn how to design a professional logo, stay until the end, and let's get started. The first step in the process is to analyze whether the logo is for a client or a personal project. If it is for a client, it is essential to understand their vision. Some may have a clear idea, while others may come with a vague concept. In that case, it is important to ask questions about the logo's purpose. Will it be used only digitally, or will it also be printed? What message or image should it convey? If you are designing a logo for yourself, the process is similar, but with more creative freedom. Think about what you want to represent and how it aligns with your personal or brand identity. In both cases, once the main concept is defined and a style is chosen, whether it's a lettermark, logo type, mascot, etc., we begin brainstorming, gathering references that reflect the desired style and essence. To organize these references, we can create a visual board with inspiring images. In my case, I use Clip Studio Paint, but any other software works as well. Once our references and ideas are well structured, we move on to the sketching phase. This is where creativity should flow without restrictions. Draw everything that comes to mind, mix concepts, and experiment with different approaches. There are no wrong ideas at this stage. A useful tip is to zoom out a bit on the canvas, or step back if you're sketching with pencil and paper, to evaluate its readability at smaller sizes. After exploring different options, we organize the document by selecting the most interesting proposals. At this stage, we can also start testing color palettes, always considering whether the logo will be printed or only used digitally, although we won't cover this topic in this video. If you are working for a client, they may already have a defined color palette. If it's a personal design, this is the time to explore and define the best option for your brand. Once the design has been reviewed and refined, either through client feedback or personal adjustments, it is time to vectorize it. If you created the sketches with pencil and paper, now is the time to take a photo or scan it before importing it into the software. For this process, I use Adobe Illustrator, but there are other programs like Affinity Designer or Inkscape. The choice will depend on which one best suits your workflow. After opening the software, we create a new project, selecting the appropriate size. In this case, I will use a 1000 by 1000 pixel canvas, but if it is for printing, it is recommended to work with measurements like centimeters, meters, inches, or feet. We will also set up the color profile. If it is for print, it's best to work in CMYK. For web use, RGB is preferable. Next, we configure the dots per inch DPI. If the logo will be printed, it is ideal to set it at 300 DPI, whereas for digital formats, 150 or 72 DPI will suffice. Once the project is set up, we import the sketch image and begin working. We enlarge and align it on the canvas, create a new layer, and keep the sketch in a separate layer. Then, we adjust the layer settings and lower its opacity to make tracing and refining the design easier. We select the layer and use the text tool to choose the typography. Regarding fonts, it is important to check their license status, as in many cases, a commercial use license must be purchased. Once the typography is adjusted, we begin tracing using the curve tool, ensuring precision and patience. In my case, I use the brush tool since I work with a graphic tablet. If the tablet pressure does not work while making lines, we can go to the Brushes panel, click on Add, select the calligraphic brush, and adjust its parameters. We can modify the angle, roundness, and most importantly, the pressure sensitivity. By default, it is set to fixed, but we can change it to pressure and adjust it to 9 points. Once the pressure is correctly configured, we create a new layer for tracing and adjust the thickness before starting. When the design looks as desired, we organize the file to make it easier to edit. As you can see, I structured the strokes to make it easier to join the lines later. Now, if I change the colors and no fill appears, it's because we haven't converted the text into shapes yet. To do this, we select the text, right-click, and choose Create Outlines. This will divide the letters into individual shapes, allowing us to move and edit them freely. Let's continue with the lower letters. If we try to use the Shape Builder tool, it might cause issues. In this case, we select the letters, go to Object, then Path, and choose Outline Stroke. Now the text becomes a fill, and we can use the Shape Builder tool to join them correctly. I recommend merging the shapes one by one instead of all at once, as sometimes small gaps may remain unmerged. It is important to verify that everything is correctly fused. Once the shapes are created, we group them. To combine them into a single layer, we press Ctrl+8. This can also be done with the letters, but we will leave that for later. Now I will cut through the letters to add a visual effect. To do this, I select the letters and copy them using Ctrl+C, then paste them in place with Ctrl+F. I lower the opacity for better clarity and adjust the text position. Once placed, I use the Shape Builder tool, hold down the Alt key, and cut the desired areas. Then, I restore the opacity and make small adjustments. If the result looks good, we can merge the text again by pressing Ctrl+8. If the color changes, it's just a matter of adjusting the text fill. When the final design is ready, we prepare the project for export. If the logo has effects, we convert them into flat colors to avoid printing issues. Additionally, we create black and white versions depending on the client's or project's needs. Finally, it's time to export. To simplify this, we use the Asset Export option, where we add all the elements we want to export simply by dragging them in. At the bottom of the window, we choose the export formats. Typically, I export at the original canvas size X1 at twice the size X2, and at a reduced version X0.5, as well as SVG and PDF formats. Once everything is ready, we select the elements and export them. We choose the destination folder, and the program will automatically organize the files into folders based on their format. If we need to send them, we can compress them into a .zip file for convenience. And that's how you create a logo from scratch to its final export. As you can see, each step is important to achieving a professional and functional design. Remember that practice is key, so don't be afraid to experiment and improve with each new project. I hope this guide has been helpful. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more design content. See you in the next video.